Can we please talk about ADHD and Notion? Look, we've all seen the absolutely gorgina setups at this point, but maybe you've also found yourself wondering, are these actually functional for somebody with ADHD? But today, I'm here to not only show you my gorgina little Notion setup, but explain how it actually changed the game for me when it comes to my ADHD. So let's get into it. Let's begin by addressing the elephant in the room, okay? It might have sounded like I was talking aesthetic Notion setups, but then I pop up my setup and what do you know? It's an aesthetic little vibe. Let's talk about it. The aesthetic beauty of those Notion setups doesn't actually solve what I believe and what you guys have told me is the number one most sucky thing about having ADHD in today's world. The overwhelm due to the 1,000 thoughts that are popcorning themselves into our brain at any given moment, okay? I liken it to the post office during the holidays, right? They've got a million packages coming in all the time, right? And these are like the thoughts that pop into your brain. Imagine if, though, every time they get a package, they're like, okay, hang on. Where's this one going? Looks like it might be going to San Diego. Where do we put the stuff that's going to San Diego? I don't really know. I'm just going to put it by my foot for now, okay? And that is so many ADHD brains. So what we need is a package comes in, scan it, bang, send it over there. Another one, duh. That's how we're going to keep things moving. And spoiler alert, that's exactly what this system is. I am telling you guys, this might end up being my greatest contribution to the world and the advancement of ADHD baddies everywhere. With all of that out of the way, let's talk about the vibe for a second. So this main page, the way I've set it up, you can do everything from this page. You should, because this is where all those like very smart, well thought out filters are doing their magic. So number one, sure, I don't want to be distracted, but I do want to set a vibe, okay? And so that's why I put together this cute little collage that I love. And also, no, your version will not have this picture of me and Gabe on there. So we've got a mood board, we've got a little bit of flavor with the funky fonts and like a little bit of color here and there. Now we're gonna toggle all this open in a second. This tiny little thing right here, okay? Neurotypicals have told us our whole lives to just write it down. Like just if you don't want to write it down. We've been doing that. The problem is we forget so quickly that we like reach for the nearest napkin, the nearest back of an envelope, the nearest post-it note in my phone. Let me send myself a text. And then when you try to get all that stuff together, it takes an hour to just make the to-do list doable. It's so frustrating. This solves that problem. When I get a popcorn thought that I know needs to come back into my life later, I capture it. I can do it on my phone, on the go with this little new item button. I'll explain more in a little bit how that I can make it, a widget on your phone to use anytime. Or if I'm here and I'm like, I'm working on something, but I don't want to like lose momentum, I just boop, I hit this new item button. This little page will pop open on the side and I just dump whatever the thought was. So let's say it's like, buy mom a birthday card, okay? Now, if you weren't in a hurry, you could process this right now. And it's so quick and so easy. It's literally just these little things right here. And then you hit the process thing and it's done. But like, let's suppose I'm out in the world or I just can't afford to get distracted, whatever. And I don't do that. I dump the thing, the item, I close back up and I get back to living my freaking life, okay? But you might have noticed how this went from 2 items to 3. So obviously you want to keep this number like low because that's how you know like you're on top of your. Now this button is just to quick launch your, what I call in the system, super notes, which is like notes that I use, right? Because I take a lot of notes, but sometimes they're more like sticky notes, throwaway notes, right? Super notes are the things that I reference again and again. On this page, I have them set up to be kind of just sorted by, life area. That's what most people call them, but I call them pillars. Life maintenance, creative, health and beauty, wealth, relationships, right? So in here, I have things like my wish list, like my birthday's coming up. So my husband was wanting to know what I wanted to get for my birthday. So I went in there and like grabbed some items, When I pack for a trip, I reference this packing list always. My like little to be read list is right here, right? So it's great to know that you have these things and you have quick, easy access to them. This button is for what I call power pages. Truth be told, I don't really launch this button that much because I'm always working from the dashboard, and these power pages are like kind of the databases that work behind the scenes, or this page exists just so I can make that widget on my phone that I told you about. But yeah, I'm not really in here. That said, I am all about easy access. This button here, quick tick, you just hit it and you get a little to-do list and you can, type whatever. Now, a cornerstone of this whole thing is using the system as it's set up. But I know that an ADHD experience is that every once in a while, you're gonna have rapid fire of brain dumping things, and even having to click the button 100 million times would be too much. So I would just brain dump down here, and then when I have the list, then I go back later and add them as individual items. As you can tell, I am a funky font bitch. I just keep this embedded in here for easy access so that I don't have to go to like igfonts.com or whatever it was. And then this, don't get me started. So many people embed Spotify playlists onto their dashboard. I get it. I totally do. But number one, if you don't stay on that dashboard, like the music stops. It's so freaking annoying. Also, they usually have it taking up like prime real estate. I'm like, nah, because usually this is like open. I need to have it like out of the way. Okay. Also, this helps me focus. Oh my God. Listen to this. I just get that going, and then I start like looking at my tasks. I'm like, okay, I need to work on my Notion tour in progress. Obviously, I need to schedule a meeting, right? And I'm getting ahead of myself, but that's so helpful to have. Anyway, now it's time for me to spill the real tea about what makes this thing a freaking godsend for the ADHD girly, okay? Part of the problem that we have with processing the things that come into our brain is that most of us are not great at making decisions, okay? Literally a feature of this disorder. This is why I developed the stay on top method, T.O.P. More on that in a second. But what this is, it's a really... Okay, if you know my time flex tier technique, you know I'm a fan of tiers, right? That incredible thing. But if you're like, I need more than a calendar, I need a place to store stuff that's like not time related, you will love this because it has the same built-in tiers, but even simpler and even more powerful, I think. When the popcorn thoughts are coming at you like freaking bullets, this is a way to deal with things quickly and get them off your desk so that you can't be overwhelmed by them, but then have them reappear when they matter. And you stay on top of all your stuff by processing them from the top down. T stands for your time, O stands for your objectives, P stands for your pillars. So let's go to something that I left in the inbox for us to do just to make this a little bit more clear. I'm going to go with this delete Miro account ? Okay. First things first, I've got a bunch of templates down here. All these little white ones are like the most basic. So when I know something is a task, I click this. If I know it's a note, I click this. A bookmark is also a note, but like I just like it to be special to show that it's just like a link to something else. This is for routines, aka habits, and then anytime something is an event, I use this. Now, to be honest, still use my Google Calendar, so that doesn't get as much use, but it does occasionally come in handy. Very quickly, I'm like, okay, that's a task. Hit that, I get the little icon, it fills in as a task. It's obviously still incomplete. Now I want to move on to processing this item. So my first question, think T.O.P. Is it time sensitive? It's not. Now this is an important thing. Us ADHDers, we're prone to feeling like, yeah, everything is time sensitive. It's not. I could do this anytime without any impact. I'm intentionally not going to fill that in. Because if I filled in, tomorrow for everything, I'd have a 500 item long list, right? We don't want to do that. So is it time sensitive? No, move on. Is it connected to a specific objective I have? Quick mental run through of my objectives. You'll see what they are in a second, but no, not really. In that case, we only fill in the pillar. which I have 9, and I'll show you those in a second, but this is not like a health and beauty thing. It's not about my mind. It's not about fun. It's not about money. It's not about relationships. It's just a life maintenance thing, right? So I'd select that, and bang. Do you see how like now I've caught this, but I'm not going to have it in my face trying to get me to do it like today or tomorrow when I need to be doing more important things. Now add a couple organizational tags if you like. There we go. We've done the T.O.P method. It is processed, and watch this. I'm going to click processed, and you're going to watch this number go down. Did you see that? Went from 3 to 2, and now it's safe in the system, but I don't have to think about it until I actually need to. Like I said, you process items from the top down, you manage things from the top down, right? However, for purposes of this tour, I really want to build things up for you, so I'm going to show it to you from the bottom up. Your pillars, these are the foundations of your life. And I love being able to open up this toggle. I don't do it all the time, but when I need to like zoom out and go big picture, how am I holding up in all the different areas of my life? How happy am I? How satisfied am I? What am I trying to do with my life? Like, this is where I go. Let's start with something that's like a little bit morbid. This is a little Indify widget. I put in my birthday and how long I hope to live, God willing, okay? And I'm about 35% of the way through my life. It's a good reminder. It's a good slap in the face. You know what I'm saying? I've got a little My Life's North Star page embedded in here. I'm not going to open it up because it's private, but I have one in the template with a bunch of questions to kind of help you like figure out your values and stuff. But this is where I have values and like things I'd like to accomplish and like what I feel like my mission is in this life, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So when I need a refresher, I know exactly where to go. This little quote, you can do anything, just not all at once, should be the ADHD official mantra. Okay. But this. A thing of beauty. 1.0 version of this, each of these was like a vision board. But I want you guys, if you get this template, to have the cool little crinkled paper. Now, earlier I mentioned I have 9 pillars. Notion has 10 colors. And so I like each life pillar having its own color. I've got a nice little synopsis of like what it means to me to be living in the highest expression of that pillar. But then I also have to keep myself honest with a little 5-star max rating of how satisfied I actually am in any of these pillars. Okay? And sometimes it hurts, dude. Like, right? I'm looking down here at my wealth shit and I'm a 2 out of 5 stars. We're working on that. But then up here in like my mindset and spirits, I'm a 4 out of 5. And I actually just changed that because I was sitting at a 3 for a minute there. But when I got to hit that and make it that 4, oh, you know, that puts a little pep in your step. So anyway, this is great. And it's great to not only get a good overview of your life, but I created a template. And yes, this comes with the template if you get it, but a little template so that you can really define, right? Because I've got this little synopsis here, but like really define what it means to you, ideas on how to get it done. And then anything that you have connected to this pillar when processing will be here. So if it's a more transient item like a task or a note or a super note or an event, you'll see that here. So like as far as super notes, I've got 7 super notes that are related to health and beauty. Okay, but I've got 28 tasks and I can see them all here. My objectives, which are less transient than like individual tasks, obviously, can be here. So you can see that a health and beauty objective that I have is to get hospital. But you can see like how many of these objectives are like actually active, what's in maintenance, what's inactive, what's completed, what's been canceled. So when I'm really ready to like, I'm feeling like I'm at a 3 right now. But like, let's say I'm just in a phase of life where I'm like, all right, I'm ready to like level this up and get to a 4. Like, what do I need to start doing in my life? Every like note, every task, every thought you've ever had that's about health and beauty will be right here. Oh, so satisfying. All right. So that's pillars. Objectives. Ooh, I'm in here every day. I don't like the word goals. When I hear people talk about goals, it sounds so like pie in the sky. It sounds so like someday I'd really like, you know, and I don't want to have that association with the stuff that I want, right? When something is an objective, it's clearly definable. I know that I can break it down into either like a bunch of tasks that I just have to knock out, Or maybe there's like a habit that I need to build. Like, let's say I wanted to run a marathon, a running habit, right? The objectives in my life, the big things that I need to manage are all accessible right here. And this is important because one thing about having ADHD is we are some multi-passionate motherfuckers, okay? We want to do and be and have everything that the world has to offer. And I think that that's beautiful. But it's also why so many of us are spinning our wheels all the time. We're trying to do too much all at once. And trust me, nobody is more guilty of this than me. But let me tell you what has really helped. Gabe and I got married a couple years ago at the San Diego courthouse, and it was a beautiful day. We had a great time. It was perfect for us. It was so chill, no stress, and yet every once in a while, I feel like we have deprived our parents and our grandparents of getting to celebrate with us. And so I'm not taking it off the table that we could have like a full-blown commitment ceremony someday, right? Now, as I'm going about like living life, what if I come across a TikTok with like a really cool, fun wedding party idea? If things come to me in the meantime, I've got somewhere to put all the stuff. And so I know they're safe. Should I ever get there? This works as like a natural filtration system to keep me working on what matters right now, okay? What's gonna have the biggest impact on my life and my happiness right now, okay? And then we also have stuff that's like in maintenance, meaning there's not really like a lot of tasks coming through, but it's like, don't drop the ball on this. So like keep my car in working order is a thing, okay? So that's this view. You can also look at your objectives here. So anything that you have put a deadline or a tentative deadline, you can look at it in time. Okay, helpful. But this is my default thing that, whenever I'm like, all right, what are we working on? What's important? And when you click open any of these pages, you're going to see everything you need for that objective. So let me show you one that I recently completed, okay? Gabe's birthday was just last week, but you can see here, I've got 3 different views for stuff that pop up. Any task that was marked as part of this objective of like celebrating his birthday all got put in here, and that was easy to like organize it. You can see I did pretty much everything, but some stuff like just got canceled altogether. Any notes related to his birthday or ideas for him on this gift list I have. And then the execution calendar is a way for you to look at all the stuff for this objective. It's the events, it's the tasks, and it just makes doing everything like so easy and clear. God, this helps so much with time blindness, let me frickin' tell you. Fun fact, when we're all babies, all of us, like, we all live in the now, right? That's like the only thing that matters, the only thing we can fathom, blah, 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 blah. As we get older, that time horizon gets a little bigger and bigger. So by the time you're like a kid, it's like a couple hours, and then it's a couple days, so on and so on. By the time you're like 25, the average neurotypical adult can like feel and conceptualize about 12 weeks out. Okay, those of us with ADHD know that like right now feels real and tomorrow feels a little bit real. But anything else beyond that, I can't even like make sense of it. And so that is why I need external help getting into particular headspaces. Now I'm going to jump around here because I think that'll be more helpful, but let's actually start with the year. When you are trying to plan for the year, you're in a very different headspace than when you're executing like for today, right? So the this year time slice is so much more a vibe check than like where you actually like act on tasks or anything. And that's why you don't have any crazy like databases being filtered through here. I only am in here a couple times a year max, right? It's quick, but it's all about setting intentions. I put whatever year it is, I decide what my themes of the year are, and kind of like what my like main priorities are. You could say I've got, another little Indify widget just showing how much of the year has passed. Every year I write myself a little letter to read. I fill in the mantras I intend to live by this year, the top things I want to accomplish by January 1st, 2026 this time, obviously. And then just like a couple things that I might want to enjoy this year, right? Because so much of this system is about, yes, like being productive. At the same time, I don't want to forget to live my fucking life. So it's like I had some stuff that I wanted to enjoy this winter, and I did those things. Now let's go from one end of the spectrum to the other. The today slice. Man, oh man, this baby is my freaking workhorse. I know some people put clocks on their dashboards, but for me, it's less helpful to know what time it is and more helpful to see like how much time I have left in the day. You know what I mean? I've just got this little random quote, something to kind of remind me, like you gotta push your chips in to make a difference, okay? You can't win big if you're not willing to take a gamble, all right? Now this is a Google Calendar widget, also on Indify. I decided to pay for not their whole ass premium plan, but just to have the premium Google Calendar widget. Now here we have routines or habits. It's 3 something right now. So normally this morning slice would be empty, and this midday slice, there'd be a significant dent in that as well. I did take my ADHD meds earlier. Click that. I did not do a load of laundry this morning. It wasn't necessary, so I skipped that. Hair and makeup I did do. My morning tidy I did do. I did not help with recycling. I did not need to charge my car. Made creamy. Kept my solitaire streak going. Ritual. Most days I like to start the morning by being like, okay, like am I in alignment? I have not done that today. But even though I like to do it in the morning, it's not off the table for the rest of the day. So in that instance, I would just drag it and scoop it into the evening section. And when I'm doing this later, it'll be there. Oh, and by the way, these populate fresh every single morning via all these habits that make up all the stuff that goes in here. And I even use the colors to show me how important they are. And then yes, I did that this morning. In the middle of the day, I have things that are more like reset-y tasks, like checking emails, the mail, stuff like that. And then evening routine tends to be a lot of like beauty stuff. Now the real workhorse is this task section right here. First of all, these colors, just like with the routines, represent varying levels of importance, except for the blue, because when I'm setting up for the day, I typically go, okay, morning routine is like the first thing I do. I like to do my midday shift after I've done the most important things, and then like evening routine would be at the very bottom. This is a fake task, so I'm actually just gonna cancel that so we don't get confused. But when something pops up in my today time slice for the very first time, it's white, just like that template. And if something is left over from the day before that, it'll have a color. But either way, I go through every item and I change the color of this check mark. And this is how I prioritize so quickly instead of having to look at a to-do list and be like, okay, what should I do first? This is the system. Oh my God, a godsend. I mark it red if it has to be done today or else there are like real consequences, okay? And that is why there are seldom a lot of red items. Now I'm going to skip orange for a second. Yellow means something is important and I would like to do it today, but not major consequence if for any reason like I had to do it tomorrow. Anything that's green is like, yeah, this would be nice to do, but it's really not that important. Can easily get kicked to the next day or sometime after that. And then orange. I don't like to use orange, but I do on occasion. And it's when something was important, but it's gotten kicked down the road a couple times and we're getting to that point where like, okay, it's not dire straits yet, but like we're getting there. So every morning I go down the list and I'm like, this is a red, this is a yellow, this is a green, this is a red, yellow, this is a green, this is a green, this is a green, this is a yellow. And that's the first thing I do. I just choose the priority level of every single task. And because it's so clear, it's quick, it's easy. Once every color has been selected, I drag all the reds to the top, I drag all the greens to the bottom, and I, put the yellows in the middle. And then I go group by group and I order the group by what makes sense for the day. And then from there, you just start executing. So like first things first, I would have done my morning routine. That is complete. You're going to see that I mark it complete and now it's gone. And so you're just trying to clear this. When I'm done filming this, I'm going to schedule a meeting with an accountant. And when I'm done with that, bop. Now, I can already tell not going to get to everything on the list, and that's okay because I am at least going to do the red things and I'm going to try my darndest to do the orange things, and everything else will roll over to tomorrow, and that is okay. I already know I'm not getting to any of these greens. I'm just going to go ahead and do myself a favor and I'm going to kick all this to tomorrow. Totally fine. We're getting the important shit done. When you have this kind of clarity, it is so much easier to just knock things out, even if they're like big, scary, hard tasks. But the point is, you work from the top down. That way, you don't get caught up in quick tickitis. That is the Today Slice. That is the real workhorse. However, when you need to kind of like strategize and zoom out, that's what these time slices are for. So the slice I am in the most besides today is this week. I've got a visual representation of how much of the week has gone by. I've got all the objectives coming due this week right here so that I kind of keep that top of mind. All the tasks that are already scheduled for the week I'm looking at. Any notes that I needed to resurface. For example, this is a note that is going to help me do my taxes, so that's here. And then habits. Yesterday, I had a bunch of habits that I didn't complete because sometimes like nighttime rolls around and you wash your face, but I don't go back to the system to say, I washed my face. Okay, so I would just clean it up because I like to be able to see it. I also have a Google Calendar widget for this week. I don't really, want to bore you with the details, but I've got a weekly calendar where I can see like events, appointments, blah, blah, blah. But do you see how I'm not executing from here? I'm just kind of, when I need to zoom out and plan ahead, move things around. Or like, let's say today was exceptionally busy and had so many things. I can just see all the stuff that's green, boop. Everything that's green, boop. Not gonna happen today. And then this month, it's basically the same thing, just zoomed out a little bit more, right? So now I can see what I've got for the rest of this week, but also any stuff that's already scheduled for the rest of the month. Okay? And it's the same kind of deal. And then here I can review individual habits. So Hot Girl Walk, I am not succeeding in so much at the moment. It's a lot of canceled. But my habit where I align and plan out the day every morning, baby, I am on that. Anytime I didn't do it, it was intentional. This was Gabe's birthday weekend. I didn't do shit this weekend. Totally fine. So when I'm zooming out and I'm in that mode of let me plan and look ahead, that's what I get to do here. But I'm not here that much, and it's just fine. That's it, guys. I cannot tell you how much it has changed my life and finally given me the clarity and the brain peace that has held me back for so long. Make no mistake that this can't do shit for you. If you won't take action because you don't believe in yourself, this isn't going to fix that. That's something I like to work on with my one-on-one clients. But the first step for every person I've ever worked with is getting them some kind of second brain system. With the logistical brain chaos thing all worked out, that other stuff is so much easier. You can get this on my website, DanielleColada.com. Early patrons are going to get beta pricing, but I love you all. I'll talk to you guys in the comments as usual, and I'll see you next time. Bye.